Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here. So today I actually have a little bit of a deck profile for you. Actually, I should say a little bit, a lot of a deck profile for you. And huge explanations from a top 16 Philadelphia regional list from Saad Sohail. You may recognize him from this video, as the video of the Dragon Link second place Philly from the last Philly regional. And he actually got top 16 at this Philly regional with Dragon Link. But do not think that this is the same list. This is a much different list. I just finished watching it, and I am very impressed by the innovations and things that he did in this list. Him and his partners Quentin with him in the video. So yeah, very, very good. I really cannot recommend watching this video first and then this profile now in its entirety, because I think they go over everything extremely well. They explain everything extremely well to where you can understand it, even if you don't play dragons like myself. So yeah, huge congratulations to them, and thank you to them for giving me the opportunity to show this profile to you guys, because this is honestly, even if you don't even play dragons, I think there's a lot to learn in this profile for you guys. So please, I think there's a lot of valuable information in here, and I really hope you guys enjoy. And again, congratulations to both of them. But without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to them for what they recorded for the profile. And just a heads up, there is a few camera cuts because I believe that their phone died while recording it. So just a heads up for that. But yeah, they go through everything. Don't worry. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And again, congratulations.
Hey guys, my name is Saad Sohail.
Quinn Ulrich.
I just got top 16 at the Philly Regional. And Jared actually wanted us to record this video because he was not at the Philly Regional himself. He was too afraid of the WWE fans to actually show up. But yeah, I got top 16. It was 9 rounds, 500 something players, and my record was X2. I was undefeated until I think round 6, and then I lost to Chainburn, and that was a match.
Yeah, actually crazy.
And then round 8, I lost to probably the best Snake Eye player I've ever seen. So props to him. So I played Dragon Link, and if you watch the previous profile where Quinn killed it and played a similar deck list, we made some pretty heavy changes that we had thought about for some time, but kind of were like a little afraid to do it.
For months.
Yeah. So let's get started, and we'll explain as we go. Same thing for some of the starters. You have the 3 black metals and the search for black metal as the starter cards. You have the 3 saferts, and then the search targets. And then, sadly, you have 1 chaos space to search the baby dragons and, of course, Lebellion. And that's it. Those are the only search targets for chaos space. More on that in a second.
We can mention that now, because one big thing was what you'll see as we go through the rest of these. We cut Levianeer. We ran through a lot of combo lines where every single 2 to 3 card combo that you have in the deck usually works off of 1 starter and 1 to 2 extenders. And the extenders usually take maybe 1 card setup. Usually it's like a Bystial or a Baby Dragon or Red MD, etc. Levianeer doesn't add into any extender lines. It takes way too much setup. It's like 3 cards just to get it to work, and all of its effects get supplemented anyway throughout cards we're running either in the main or extra deck. So usually it's win more when you go first, 9 times out of 10, and that 1 time out of 10 is usually only in these very specific moments on a crackback turn where you might need it to clear things really quick, but a lot of times that crackback turn, you could have just searched a Bystial or a Rocket or something else to get going.
The truth is, a lot of the utility that Levianeer offers started to feel redundant. And trust me, Chaos Dragon Levianeer is my favorite card in the game. It's the card that I put for the feature match, information, and cutting it had to be justified, and all of its effects are justifiably completed through other extra deck monsters, other main deck monsters. The only one that isn't is the hand rip, and the hand rip, most of the times, if you can get it off turn 1, feels irrelevant.
It's usually win more at best, and mathematically it's not really going to affect much unless you are amazing at ripping cards from your opponent's hand, which is very unlikely.
Right. So continuing on with the rest of the deck, same ratios for the rocket engine, and then the 2 field spells. I have too many times when I draw a recharger and I kick myself for not having this 4th slot right here as another target, whether it's a second recharger or whether it's a caliber. But, truth is, that should be statistically unlikely, and you really do not need it. It's tough to parse your result-based thinking from your actual theory, and in good theory, it's really not needed. So that's it for the rocket engine. And now for the strongest cards in the deck, and the reason that this regional went well.
Oh yeah, this is the fun part. So most of this is pretty much the same from our previous list. You'll see most of the Bystials, the regained here. And then this edition, we went with 3 Baldrake. This is something something I didn't really know after I had gotten 2nd place at the last Philly Regional was that it didn't dawn on me how much I wished I had more Bystials, because certain games, even though I had won them, it was so much harder to win certain games when you just didn't have a single Bystial in your hand, because then you're playing pre-Bystial Dragon Link, and while that's doable into some decks, it's so much easier if you have that extra extender that opens up either a synchro line or just gives you some sort of extension into the Link plays. The Baldrake, while his effect is not always crazy, he's another name. He's the only other Bystial Deity Crow we have. And by having him in the deck, you increase your chances of seeing a Bystial just as much as you see your starter. So you should be seeing a starter with a Bystial the whole time. And since Bystials are also good as hand traps, you also increase your chances of seeing duplicates very much. And that was something we saw all day pretty much.
Quite literally.
Between the two of us.
There is an equal number of starter cards to Bystial cards in the deck now. And most of the combo lines of the deck, most of the modern combo lines, involve you having a Bystial. And all of those combo lines are significantly better if you open 2. And because of that, right? Because of the fact that we have a higher chance of hard opening 1, the other one is searchable, it ends up meaning that your turn 1 board is so much easier to make through interruption. In a format where everyone's playing
at least 12 hand traps, maybe even 15 to 18.
A deck to see 2 hand traps, you need as much extension as you can get.
And especially since these also counter as hand traps against a lot of matchups. Like I had a lot of voiceless voice matchups, and believe me, when you can open up 1 to 2 Bystials with any other hand traps you're running in your deck, it is disgusting how easy it is to just beat voiceless, branded, a lot of other decks.
Yeah. So that is it for the Bystial engine. And the rest of the deck to make up the 45 count are traditional hand traps.
Yep. And one we added, so if anyone remembers from the last profile, we only ran these 9.
Yeah.
Ghost Mourner was added in. We had, I think I tested Nib in for PS5 tournament, and it didn't quite perform as well in this format. Main decking it, it was nice to side it sometimes, but maining it just wasn't working against a lot of our matchups. But Ghost Mourner is just another version of Valor and Imperm, where when you're going up against decks like Voiceless and Snake Eye, and especially even Branded, to be honest, all of those decks, when you start pairing Bystials with them and all these other hand traps assorted, you end up having enough negation that stops everything they're doing. So it's almost like you don't have to run 18 hand traps that are like, nibs, drolls, all that stuff that like pure Snake Eye would run. We just run these 12 just because they are the best effect negations for everything your opponent tries to grab from their deck or do certain extension plays, and your Bystials counter the stuff that most decks actually can't beat.
And there's a big reason that I think a lot of players miss out on, and it's something that was like very hard for me to learn, but it is side deck theory, right? in the side deck, you'll see later on, obviously, Nibiru is in there. The reason is, with 12 hand traps in a 45 card deck, your chance of drawing 1 is very high. But your chance of drawing 2 together, I'm talking about these traditional 12, is not very high. But post side, right, when you add in 3 more hand traps, when you have 15, you're looking at about a 50%, above probably a 50% chance of seeing 2. What you want to do is make sure that the pair that you have is as powerful as humanly possible in this game. So Nibiru paired with any of the effect negation, as everyone knows, the classic imperm nib scenario, Nibiru paired with any of the hand traps that we already run in the main is extremely powerful.
Yeah, so when we go post side, that's all you have to do. You can, especially against Snake Eye, that's one of the things we do. All you do is you leave these in for pure Snake Eye, and you just put 3 nibs in. Because nib plus any of these is usually game on their board, and then with our pairs of seeing a starter and multiple Bystials, you're playing into their board and you're able to kill them. So it just worked out with the side patterns really well.
And that's it for the main deck, 45.
Yep. Unfortunately, couldn't keep it at 40, but hey, sometimes it's not really the deck count that matters, but how your numbers work out with the ratios. So,
yeah, I'm known locally for being the guy that harps on math and being as close to 40 as you can. But lately, I've been trying to explain to everyone that's a misconception. That's not what I've been preaching. I've been trying to explain to everyone that ratios are the only thing that matters. As long as you have your ratios make sense for your starters, for your non-engine, for whatever in your deck. As long as the types of hands that you open make sense with the ratios you run, you're going to be okay.
Yep.
All right, so token for all the boys, and then extra deck.
Most of this is pretty standard.
Most of it should be pretty easy to understand.
Yeah. One thing to note, Borland, this is the first time both of us never made it at all in the tournament, but sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
It's there when you need to break through certain decks that love to spam a lot of bodies and block you from killing. And that at least having him in there, it works wonders. He's never going to be a part of our first turn end board because he plays into too many going second cards. Like Typhon is a huge one that as soon as Typhon came out, there was no reason to drop him turn 1. So you only want to drop him when you need to.
Yeah, he swings the game. So you should be using him to swing the game, not to start the game, basically. So Link's pretty much standard at this point. Synchros, Savage, just
They
water.
should be pretty standard at this point, I feel, those 3.
Baron, and might have noticed Unicorn is missing because this time we ran Chaos Angel. With the higher Bystial count, it should be pretty easy to see that making Chaos Angel is a lot more likely now. You get into scenarios in which Chaos Angel made with a light target, clearing like a Fire King island, for example, puts you in such an advantageous position. And having a card, most main decks, for example, most Fire King Snake Eye main decks don't run an out. Like so,
If you make it with a light in the dark.
If you make it with a light and dark, it just sits on board.
They have to card draw imperm.
Yeah, it happened in one of my matches against Fire King Snake Eye where I made him, I cleared the Fire King Island, I put him on such low resources, and all I had on board was Chaos Angel and Baron, and he had a card in hand. So when the turn passed back, it was game. And as long as you manage your resources correctly, making him shouldn't be too hard. And yeah, he should just be able to carry a lot of games.
It's also a thing, as some would notice, our deck is more so kind of like a Bystial control deck, but you fixed the problem with Bystial control by adding in rockets instead of running all those level 2 tuners.
Yeah.
And because most of your dragons in the deck, a lot of them are level 4s. So they pair so well with the Bystials to make a Chaos Angel in the first place. So you're never really behind on levels to get there. You can actually get there faster than a regular Bystial control deck, or even the Resonator stuff, whatever, just because you can go Bystial level 4 and just make him.
Anyone that knows me knows that I love Bystial control a little too much, and a lot of times the original variant, when people first started talking about the Bystial control deck, it just didn't have a backbone, really. And if you play Dragon Link with a higher Bystial count and you play it as a mid-range strategy instead of a wombo combo strategy, it ends up being what that Bystial control deck was trying to be.
It's actually the best of both worlds because in the Dragon Link variant you run all these extra extenders and bricks, but in the Bystial control variant you have all this consistency, but there's a lack of power. By taking the benefit of the rockets into that Bystial control list, you get the best possible list, in my opinion.
Thus far, I think.
At least currently, yes.
Yeah. And last card in the extra deck was Atum. Very quickly surpassing Levineer as my favorite card in the game. Unfortunately, I never really thought too hard about using this card before, and I regret not going down that line of thinking. The reason this is in the deck is because right now, the metagame, I'll be real, like, the metagame is pretty awful. And the metagame is fighting against decks that are doing very unfair things with 17 hand traps to boot. So if you play out your hands correctly with a higher Bystial count, what Atum does is it lets you play, and get hand trapped over and over and over and over. There was a game where I got Veilered, Impermed, Veilered, and then Nibbed. Okay? And I played it in a way where I saved a Bystial in hand. Regain got me another Bystial back. I made Atum. I Atum summoned out Red MD. I Red MD revived something. I just kept going. Just kept going over and over. And my opponent looked at me like, I've never even seen someone do that. And he chuckled nervously and scooped. So Atum allows you to play through a lot. And the second bonus is Atum feels like a very unfair card to me. And I get made fun of for this because I only started playing about like a year and a half ago. And
he
people
doesn't know
say,
what LP is.
yeah, people keep bringing that card up. Of course I've read the LP. And I didn't get to play with it, so...
we might as well call it Boomer Atum for you.
Yeah, for real, right? Like, the effect to just summon anything out from deck raises your ceiling, obviously, by a lot. So when you don't get hand trapped, when you set up a Seals, you set up Regained, you set up a card in your hand as follow-up in case you do get nibbed. If you don't get nibbed, you go into Atum, you can go infinite.
You can basically make the super board, actually.
Yeah,
Because with the extra Bystial count, some of the combo lines that we talked about in the previous profile where sometimes you can get double synchro with Seal and IP, Atum helps you do that while you're playing through the hand traps or playing under them, per se. Yep. Whereas previously you had to just have this immaculate hand of engine. Now you just need to circulate Bystials so that you can make it. And then it gets you really far.
Yeah. So, I'm happy I played it. Will I continue to play it? For as long as I play Baldrake in the main deck, for as long as I play that high of a Bystial count, I think so.
Yeah, I think the high Bystial count warrants it. I loved it more as a safety net. I didn't have to get hand trapped as many times, but I played knowing it was there, and just having it available to make those big boards really helped.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it for main and extra. So side deck, we have our beautiful token. Obviously, going first. I really don't like this metagame. I really don't like this metagame. But, you know, Anti-Spell Fragrance is a very good card.
Yeah, board breakers. There's a lot of funny enough, a lot of the decks play really powerful spells, and even though, especially even into something like Voiceless where they can place the cards down, if they hard open them, it stops stuff like pre-prep, which is really strong.
And into... Dragon Link is very good at breaking boards. Snake Eye Fire King might actually... not the Fire King variant. Snake Eye variant might actually be better. I shouldn't cap. It is actually better. It really is better. So, but the truth is, it's better because their main extender requires them to be able to use a spell card. And if you set up Seals, Anti-Spell, and a hand trap, they usually can't break your board. It's just a seal.
And then if you add any extra interruption to that. It's
Yeah.
just an FTK.
So-
They cannot break it if they don't have access to their spells.
And it happened twice. I didn't draw it as much as I wanted, but it did happen twice, and it did win the game because of it. Hand traps, Nib we talked about.
Yep.
Bell is in here to make sure that you have another card to make the Brandon matchup even easier.
Brandon and
And-
Voiceless.
Voiceless.
For going second, I don't know how many times you cited in Bell going first for Voiceless because we're on such a high Bystial count. I know for me, I just didn't do it as much. But...
I ended up swapping one of my targeting effect negations for it. But honestly, like you said, you could just not, and it was fine with the high Bystial count.
It's good going second. I would definitely recommend, like, if you're going, because there's always a side pattern where you can take out 3 cards from your main deck and put in those 3 to add to your Bystials, which is nice.
And then we have 3 draws. Contrary to popular belief, this is not a card you side in against Snake Eye. It was not a card that ever was really needed to be sided in against Snake Eye. This is only here because this metagame is so rough with stun and flu and stuff. So you'll notice in a sec that we have 3 slots left, and they're not Cosmic Cyclone. This is in here to make sure that there is a card that you could side in against flu. And I did face a flu player. He was an extremely cool guy, probably the best flu player I've seen in a very long time. And I was able to win our game 3 because I had Droll. Everyone knows how Droll is into flu, so I don't need to harp on it too much.
Yeah, it's really only there for flu. You might hit like Manatium or some other rogue decks that Droll is good into, but in general, it fixed side patterns for flu because we had nothing.
We literally had nothing.
Because you had to take out Mourner from the main deck and get another card in, and we had nothing, so Droll had to go into that slot. Because against flu, you cannot risk having dead cards.
Yeah. Alright, last cards.
It's just broken.
Duster makes sense. Blowout. I wish there were more of it.
Just take Heavy Storm off the ban list.
Yeah, please. I don't like Lightning Storm too much because the matches where you really need back row hate heavily, they end up being grind games. And obviously, you commit something to the board, you're not going to be able to use Lightning Storms, and you cannot afford to have dead draws. So, Duster was good. It was a blowout. It worked. And Red Beast. That is about it for the back row hate in the side deck. And I will say, out of every card in the entire deck, Branded Beast was probably the MVP for the entire tournament for me. I played against Flu. I played against Chainburn, where it came up. I played against Stun. Stun? If I didn't have Beast, I could not have won that game. By far, having a searchable back row out is going to be better than having something like Cosmic Cyclones, like having 3 Cosmic Cyclones. I will explain this, because I think it's an important point, and if I'm incorrect, you guys can blow up Jared's channel and let him know, and he'll tell me. But I just don't believe in the math of me siding in 3 Cosmics into like a combo matchup, let's say, and the chances of me drawing one and them drawing their floodgate of choice, and then me getting rid of their floodgate and winning the game. I just do not believe that. I would rather into a combo matchup side in some more hand traps, something like the Nib, so that now I have a pair of Nib plus effect negation, which makes sure that they can't they can't build their board and play. Okay? What if I saw Cosmic plus 1 effect negation? I'm losing that match. Right? I'm gonna be real. I'm losing that match. And then that's combo. When I go against Stun, I draw 1 Cosmic Cyclone. Awesome. I outed their 1 Floodgate, or I outed their 1 Fountain. What am I gonna do about the other 4 that are set? So It's just ridiculous to even think that that's going to help you.
Honestly, I can actually attest to the whole background thing because I did play against, I think I had 3 voiceless opponents, and one of them, we were going into game 2, and I knew he was going to side summon limits. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try to handcrap him to death. So the bells came in. I think I did side in a duster, but I was like, I might not need this. And it was really funny. What ended up happening was I had stopped his entire play. Like I had an effect negator, and then I had a Bystial. So I killed his entire setup, and I think I had a second Bystial in my hand as well. And so he goes, okay, set 2 and pass. And I go, okay, banish another one, summon the Bystial. And then I go draw for turn, and then immediately I look at my hand, I'm like, okay, I got 2 quick launches in my hand, I got 2 Bystials on the board. And I was reading here the summon limit, and I go, quick launch, summon, anything, make Baron. He went, oh. And he starts looking at everything he has.
Yep.
Because now I've gotten through it just on engine alone because I stopped his entire combo, and now I'm playing on his turn and my turn. And that's why we really don't need that extra back row hate like the Cosmics, because if you can search one in certain matchups when you need it, it's just so much better than just having the hope of saying, oh, a third of my games post side, I'm going to see this one card that helps me get past the one flood.
If you can, in your engine, build yourself a back row out, I really do think you should. My matchup against Stun, I've never... I know it sounds ridiculous, like, I am a relatively...
We're back.
Alright, sorry about that. Video broke up a little bit. I was explaining the Stun matchup. Like I said, I am a relatively new player. I've never once seen Inspector Border. So when he opened Game 1, I lost a die roll. He went first. He opened Inspector Border, Die-Fi, Card Scanner, and Summon Limit. I know I'm losing that game, but I took the game to try and understand exactly what Inspector Border did, because that card reads like absolute trash. So as I learned how to play against it, I realized, like, okay, the way my opponent is playing, the way that he's managing his resources, I can abuse it. So game 2, I lose game 1. It goes on for a little bit. I let him deck me out. Game 2, I go first. Stun's only going to really win against a competent deck when they go first. So he loses. Game 3 is the important one. Game 3, I'm keeping track of the cards that he's used. Right? He doesn't know that I have Beast in the deck. Dragon Link lists don't really run Beast anymore.
And if they do, it really is just sided, but very few do.
So I'm banking on him not reading that I have Beast. So I use Lebellion's effect, I get regained. He goes Destruction Puppet. I have my field fill up. He uses another Destruction Puppet. At this point, I've realized that he hasn't shuffled his deck. He used a Fountain Draw, and he put the 2 Destructions back that were used in the previous 2 turn rotations. So I know that the Destructions are sitting at the bottom of the deck. And I know that the chances of him drawing the 3rd one are extremely low. So I see my opportunity, and this time I go for Lebellion, I get Beast. Beast in the end phase grabs back regained. I use Bystials, banish stuff, recycle resources. And at this point, I'm on so many cards, and I'm starting to take his cards away. Every turn, his turn and my turn, Beast is getting rid of a Floodgate. Beast is getting rid of Inspector Border. Beast is getting rid of Card Scanner. Slowly but surely, when it passed back, I was like shocked at how well the strategy worked, because there was a point on the last turn of that duel, I had 4 cards in hand, 3 on board, and he had 1 card in hand left. And when the turn passed back to him, he normal summoned Border, I Beast popped it. I think he actually set a card. I think he set another Floodgate. He tried to go to end phase, I main phase popped it, and he just said, good game. So I was very happy about that one. Beast really was the MVP for me.
It answered our entire back row hate problem. So any Floodgate Stun matchup, you just do 2 cards. And you really don't need much more other than specific blowouts you can use in grind and a searchable out.
Yeah, if the time comes when we get some better back row outs, I would love to have it.
Yeah.
But for now, this suffices, and this will forever be known as the Stun Regional for me, because every time, all day at the top tables, to my left was Stun, to my right was Stun. And I think Stun won the entire event.
It did, yeah.
So, this is a metagame. Last card, Scarlet. Never cited it in. I cited it in, never actually got to summon it.
Neither of us ever resolved that card.
Yeah, but it's there because this is a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, so that is it for the deck profile. Honestly, like, I was not expecting much out of this event, given how the state of the game is. But I was looking forward to just going, hanging out with friends, and having some fun. And, you know, it worked out really well. Yeah, honestly...
Yeah, I agree. The list worked out really well. I ended X3. I lost out at the very last round. The deck performed extremely well. I just ended up not getting there at the very end, but it was really close. Like, the deck list did exactly what it was supposed to do. I think we were both on point.
Good.
We got cut out again. Sorry.
Yeah, as I was saying, like, we were very on point with how we built the deck, and it performed extremely well. I think I got hit with really weird variants early on, and towards the end, it was definitely tough to keep up with getting hand-trapped by Voiceless in certain awkward scenarios, and I couldn't end on enough to stop him with him having Branded Fusion. So, but the deck, it performed extremely well. I think we did a good job prepping this beforehand, and the extra Bystials would highly recommend.
Yeah, give it a shot. I know that there are a lot of Dragon Link enjoyers that watch Jared's channel because a lot of, I think 4 different people came up and asked me,
Asked both of us, to be honest.
yeah, like how it was going, if we were going to make another profile, and so yeah, doing it for Jared's fans, and yeah, huge thank you to him. I super appreciate him. You know, subscribe, let Jared know what other type of content you want, and all that, and roast him for skipping the event because he was afraid of WWE fans. I do want to give some shout outs real quick. Of course, shout out to Ty the cameraman.
Yeah.
And Quinn here. I seriously, I cannot play Yu-Gi-Oh! Without you guys.
We're here for it.
Quite literally, I build everything with the 2 of them. It just goes to show having good testing partners and theorying partners is very good. It goes a long way. Shout outs to Chaz, Pavel, and Dave at Phenomenal Games because they literally always have the cards that I need. So I know if I ever need anything.
Great community at Phenomenal Games.
Seriously, they're a call away. I know I haven't, unfortunately, had the time to make it to their locals nowadays because of my schedule, but they're always there for me, so I'm happy to know that. And shout out to AU for running a fantastic event. I swear to God, Philly regionals are the best ones out there by far.
No cap.
Yeah. And final shout outs to my beautiful girlfriend, Erin, for putting up with me playing this game and listening to me rave and rant about the nonsense that is the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again.